Hello everybody, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super card game video. In this video, we're going to go ahead and show off the deck that I used at this week's ARG San Jose Dragon Ball Super card game regionals. So, had a lot of fun. It was the first time I went to something like that, and I knew that going in, there was going to be a lot of mecha players. Just the mecha Frieza decks were just running wild. It was literally all that I saw. And I went 3-1. I got one loss against Mecha Apes. I won against Mecha Apes as well. I beat Mecha Veggies, and I beat Mecha GT deck. So it was kind of all over the place, but Mecha Frieza, again, as a leader, is about to get errated, so it's going to kind of change the meta a bit, but I still think he's going to be pretty viable. The reason I lost the one that I lost was because I just simply, when you see my deck, I was getting all the green package just at the wrong times. They were getting milled from Mass Saiyan and things of that nature. So it was honestly very, very unlucky. Not to say his deck wasn't good or he wasn't skilled, but really I couldn't even put up a fight because by the time I got my cards, it was too late. He already had a board full of apes and I had no way to play around it. So I just kind of had to scoop. And after that, being as I was my first regionals, I didn't know what to expect. I was rushing a little bit when it came to my deck and my sideboard and writing the list out and all those other little things. And I kind of just got fatigued mentally. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go because these were all really, really stressful matches. So I didn't actually finish. I had a chance, I guess, to be top 32, but I had a lot of fun. Now let's get into the deck profile. So as you saw, he's been kind of laying here. Leader is Mass Saiyan. So this guy's pretty awesome. He's one of the better leaders. He wasn't very present at the regionals because honestly Mecha Frieza can be a very, very bad matchup for him, but if he swings at the right time the right way, it can be a very good matchup. As I said, I went pretty well. Here's the unawakened side. Basically what he does is if he's your leader, which he would be in this deck, mill top 3, and if he gets a black card, he gets the critical ability. If you get any other color card, he gets 5k boost. Now, with the way that the cards work as well, one thing that I did pretty commonly is I would be like this, and then I would mill 3, and then I would awaken, mill 3 again, and then he's for that turn 25k and possibly critical, most likely, a critical card. So he's very, very good and very, very powerful. He also gets to draw 2 cards whenever your life is low enough, and he also gets to draw when he swings. So very good leader. Like I said, he's going to be more relevant in the meta when Frieza gets slowed down a bit because he can play a little bit better. But Mass Saiyan, one of the best things about him is that he can be the only guy out there on the board. So against like Veggies or things like that, there's not a whole lot of targets for them depending on how you play. But speaking of Veggies, I personally did play a green deck. So to begin, I have 4 negates. Full power energy was, it's not super good because there aren't a whole lot of 1-drops that I'd be super concerned about. I guess if you're playing against like a red player, Saiyan Cabba, this will pop Saiyan Cabba. It would pop, other 1-drops, turn 1 cards like the green trunks or things of that nature. So it's pretty cool. Nonetheless, it's a green negate, and I played a lot of green cards, and it also can be a mill for 5k for Mass Saiyan if it came down to it. So for the next 4 cards, we actually had 4 of the Caulifla. Now, 4 Caulifla was, honestly, it kind of felt like it was kind of cloggy. I feel like it probably should have been at 3 because there was so many times where I'd be playing. And the reason why you want to run 4 is for Cabba, who I'll talk about in just a moment. If he pulls Caulifla, of course, you're in a very good position because that's 2 for the price of 1. You get help with self-awakening and things of that nature. But it just, so many times, she would be in my opening hand after I mulliganed, and she'd be, or she'd be in my life, and she'd come to my hand because of the life destruction and things of that nature. And it just was like, I can never really play the combo because I find myself in a position where she's in my hand, and that was only because it was 1 too many or things of that nature. So there's a good, benefit to it. Otherwise, it's kind of annoying, but she's a really, really good card. Self-awakens, 20k body as a 2-drop is really, really good as well. She's an awesome card, just really, really good. She also gives you immunity for Kale's effect. So we're going to go over Cabba first. I should have went over Cabba, then Caulifla, but we'll go over Cabba, and then we'll talk about Kale. So it's kind of parking lot what I just said about Caulifla. I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, Kale is the second part, Cabba is the second part of the 3-part for now Veggie combo is what they call it. Kale, Caulifla, and Cabba. This guy is able to search top 10 for a Kale or Caulifla. If you pull a Caulifla, she gets played for free, which is why I said earlier, it's a 2 for 1. Because you get to use 2 energy and play Caulifla and Cabba at the same time and pick up hand advantage by self-awakening from Caulifla. And then on top of that, another thing he's really, really good at is he reduces the cost of the energy for Kales and Cauliflas in your hand. So Caulifla becomes a 1-drop, for example. If you have enough of them out there, Caulifla can be played for free. If you have enough of them out there, Kale can be played for 1 or no energy and just be played for free if you have 3 or 4 of these Cabbas out there. So Cabba is really, 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 really good. So, and he's he's 10k. It's not too powerful. It's not too weak, excuse me, but there are very, very few situations where you need to do much with him. I kind of just leave him out there in active mode. But for the final piece of the combo, we do have 4 Kales. Now, to play this combo, it's honestly very, very expensive, and that's very unfortunate. These cards are really expensive. Kale borders on being about a $40 card right now. So she's really good for a lot of reasons. She has critical, which is one of the best abilities in the game. So that in tandem with Mass Saiyans critical and other critical cards that I'll get to in just a moment. She also is able to destroy the opponent's field. She would technically destroy one of your targets. If you had to, you would probably destroy an Overwhelm card, which there are some in my deck. But if you have Caulifla on the board, you don't have to worry about that. That's where Caulifla is really good. Kale says, oh, you're going to destroy one of your cards and one of your opponent's cards, but Caulifla says your cards are unaffected by that part of Kale's ability. On top of that, Kale is able to draw a card when you have 5 cards or less in your hand. So she gives you draw power. She gives you critical hit. She's got 20k power. She also is a board wipe up to 5 energy. So she can pop several small targets. For example, if I'm playing against a Mira match, I can destroy 2 of their Cabbas and one of their like 1-drops. She's really good. Kale she does a lot of things. The only thing she doesn't do is double strike, but I can technically give her double strike with the Champa card that I will have in this deck. So I actually ran 4 copies of the Trunks Bridge to the Future. He's able to look at the top 2 and pull a Saiyan to your hand. He doesn't have to pull 2 immediately. If you pull 1 and you like it, you can keep it. It says up 2, so that's one thing a lot of people don't really know about this card, but he's really, really good. Pulling top 2 is good for a couple of reasons. It helps you deck thin and get to cards that you want because he also can pull Overwhelm cards. You know, any card that has the character trait being a Saiyan, it's very, very helpful. Aside from that, it helps fuel Overwhelm by sending another card to the drop area. So, very cool card, and, you know, kind of feeding off of him, I ran 2 copies of this Trunks. Now, this Trunks, I didn't really play a whole lot, but if you ever really play this Trunks, he's really good, actually. He evolves for 3 energy on top of this Trunks, and what he can do is when he evolves, or when a card evolves into him, basically the 1-drop Trunks evolves into this Trunks, for 3 energy, you can go ahead and draw a card, which helps because he replaces himself in your hand. He also is a blocker, which is awesome. He also has barrier. So if you're up against a Kale, for example, they can't destroy this guy, and he can block the attack if they try to attack or things of that nature. So he's actually really, really good. 20k body, also a 5k combo instead of being like a, you know, more traditional 10k with 1 energy cost. So I only ran 2 because a lot of times he wound up being energy. But when I get towards the end of my deck, I'll show you guys, or I'll mention a scenario where he was really, really good and some changes I would make. So I also ran 2 copies of this Goten in the deck. This Goten was mainly here for that, you know, King Vegeta against Ape matchup. I got to use that maybe 3 times in like all of like, what was it, 10 games I played? Something like that. I got to use it like 3 times. And the reason being is it was just like with needing to play Cabbas or things of that nature, or needing to play the next card I'm going to show you, I didn't really have energy early game to where Goten would be super good, or if they popped out multiple King Vegetas via Shugesh, it was honestly not super good. But really, if you can shut down King Vegeta and don't let them go out to the King Vegeta Ape, you actually have a really good chance of stopping the Ape matchup. That's one of the things that a lot of people know or don't know, but if you can do that, you have a really good chance, because all of a sudden, all those blocker apes are not invincible. They can be destroyed by Mass Saiyans and Kales. They can be wiped off the board. King Vegeta gives them all barrier, so if you let him get that out there, they either have, you know, critical attackers or double strikers between the Prince Vegeta ape and the Bardock ape, you know, things of that nature. And then they'll also have critical, they'll have a barrier and things of that nature and blocker all over the place. And then Planet Vegeta lets them restand, so they get to attack for free and then go back to active to block again. So Goten was very, very good. A lot of people would side that card, but I decided to really make my deck anti-apes, you know, to begin. And you'll see that a little bit more in the future. So we ran 4 copies of Champa. This is really good in conjunction with Kale and with Bardock and any other critical card, basically, because what happens is, you know, basically turns Mass Saiyan into a double strike critical. I just swing with Mass Saiyan, no negate, okay, cool, tap 1 energy. All of a sudden, you have a 20 combo, you know, 20k or 25 to begin turn 1 card out there, double strike critical hitting you in the best case scenario. And it's like, well, that's kind of demoralizing because criticals don't let you get the cards, of course, if you didn't know. And that just really, really can be, like I said, demoralizing. It can really help you out as well because you keep advantage. So 4 copies of the super combo. These are actually foil. They're my babies. You can't really tell which cards are foil, but honestly, my deck is almost fully foiled out. All the Trunkses and everything like that are foil. So 4K boost. This is really good because you can technically do this as early as like turn 1 or 2, depending on your setup. Well, I guess the first turn you'd be able to be attacking or attacked. You could technically do it. So this card just saved me so many times, early on when they tried to get advantage when I was playing against the ape because they marched or whatever, this card being able to super combo super early, or when they tried to, this is where this card is really good, honestly, is when they try to stall you until they can finish you off, when they stall you at 5 life or so, and just kind of leave you there. That's why you need cards that help self-awaken like Caulifla, but where this is really good is in that scenario, because you can kind of do what you need to do anyway. Because otherwise, a lot of the super combos, in fact, most of them would be nullified until you hit 4 life left. So I actually mained 2 more negates, and these are foil as well. They're my babies, times Judgment. So this card literally saved me in one match, and it didn't really save me otherwise, but I got in a super heated match against a Mecha Ape player, and I had 1 card left in my deck, so that was a long match. I had 1 card in my deck left and 1 card in my life. He was on his final turn and he tried to go for game. I was like, nah, I have like 13 cards in my hand. Okay, negate. You get to discard 2 cards and get this back to your hand. I had like 3 or 4 active energy. I basically stalled him out by discarding the cards from my hand. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Actually, you know what I'm misremembering? This was before I had 1 card left, and I need to make that clear because I'm going to talk about a combo that I did at the end. This was actually when I had maybe 6 or 7 cards left in the deck, maybe 8. But nonetheless, it was very, very second to last turn of the duel, and negating attacks, that would have been double strikes and things of that nature, or criticals, and they didn't really matter because I had 1 life, but they were on 20k bodies or 25ks, what have you, depending on the ape that he had out there and was trying to attack with, be it the King Vegeta or things of that nature. It was really tough to deal with. So in conjunction with Kale and with the leader, I have another another critical strike, that I can use with Cabba, or not Cabba, Champa. And he's able to become double strike critical this Mira. Honestly, I thought he was pretty bad at first. A lot of people told me he was bad, and you should just run the I think it's a 3-drop overall Mira that forces them to discard a card from their hand. That card is good, but this card in my mind is better. Critical is just, again, broken in this game. Combining that with double strike is even better. And then also the ability to have him as a 5k combo is really, really good as well, because again, a lot of cards like this will be 10ks, and this deck actually doesn't really have very many 10ks, if at all, aside from like Champa. And then on top of that, him being just incredibly good early game, because I can technically have a scenario where I have, turn 2, I have him attacking and Mass Saiyan, both critical, double striking, and then it's kind of like, what do you do? Because they're both, 15, 20-ish. And then, of course, we combo for 10k more. So it's like, well, 25 and then 30k if I don't combo anything else. So they're really, really powerful. Very, very good card. Very, very good combo in this deck. Definitely run 4 of those. And this is where things got a little wonky. I played 3 of that Mass Saiyan and 1 of these. Now, this is something I didn't really have time to fix. I didn't like this because this Mass Saiyan, for all intents and purposes, is better against apes, while this one is better against ape, the Veggie package, I would say, because this one can destroy any single target. It can have blocker on it. This guy can destroy up to 5 energies worth of targets, such as like I was talking about earlier with the Kale. He does literally the same thing, but the difference is he cannot destroy a blocker. So he can't destroy any of the apes. That's where things got a little wonky for me. What I really wanted to do was do 1 of these and 3 of these, but I kind of didn't really, pay attention to that. Now, bonus, this guy has double strike. He's also 20k. This guy doesn't have double strike, so you kind of pick your poison a little bit when it comes to those two, but all in all, they're both really, really good cards. This guy's from the promo. This guy's from the special expansion, but like I said, I would really run 2 to 3 of these, but really another reason why I didn't want to do that is also because I kind of felt like there was a lot of self-awakening in this deck anyway with the Cauliflas, but there were times where that Mass Saiyan on the right would have saved me, whereas I had this guy in my hand and I played him, and it's like, well, he doesn't really do anything against this matchup or in this scenario anyway. So, I like him, but this guy's definitely better for that matchup. Otherwise, I would say that this Mass Saiyan is technically a better card. In my mind, he requires 1 energy. He has double strike, very good finisher. He also, another thing that I didn't really like about him is he has a 10k combo while the other one does not. That really, really helps. Not needing energy to combo into a card can really, really help when you go for a game or when you're trying to defend yourself. So another 5k combo basically, but another card from that expansion set, such as that first Mass Saiyan, is this Time Patrol Trunks. This card, is so beautiful, foil. I wanted to run 4. I typically run 4. I dropped that last one and sideboarded him. I didn't really use him a whole lot, to be honest. I typically do play him a lot, but I just didn't really need him. And, he's really good for being able to add a card to your hand and kind of predict what you're going to get with Mass Saiyan's effect. Like, if you ever see a black card, I just kind of leave it at the top so I can guarantee critical with Mass Saiyan's milling, for example, but I didn't really need him. He's a really good card, very staple card in a lot of decks, but personally, I didn't use him a whole lot. Now, a card that I thought was crap at first, but is incredibly good, this guy, overwhelming double strike, and he only requires 2 energy, but on top of that, he gives you back 1 card from your warp. Basically, that would be a super combo. He's really good. He's really, really good. Unless he gets bloodlusted, he's really, really good. If he gets bloodlusted or crusher balled, more so bloodlust, I guess, but if he gets either of those, he's kind of crap, because he can't attack, and of course being overwhelmed he leaves. But all in all, one of the best cards in this deck, hands down. I played him almost every game. He even saved me several times. Now, for the final spice of the deck, 3 of these. 3 Haru Harus are in the deck because, like I said in the beginning of the video, I try to make my deck anti-apes to begin. Now, if you play against any other deck that isn't a yellow leader or, what is it, green? Yellow or green, yes. This card is utterly bad. It is incredibly useless. I guess it could be a 3-drop critical, but still, you get my point. Against apes, it's incredible. I got to a point on that duel where the Time's Judgment saved me, I was talking about, where I had 4 energy, right? Literally 4 energy, and what I was doing was pretty insane. I was going ahead, and I had a hand of these. I would play him, right? The Haru Haru was in the hand. I would play him, and I would grab something or not grab something, what happens. But from there, that means that one of my energies was tapped. You could basically Haru Haru for free. She also untaps that original energy. And then I did it again. And then I pulled something or didn't pull something. And then I did it again. And I did it again. And I did it again. And all of a sudden, I went from having nothing on the board to having all those. And then for the final spice, I played a Kale. Because, again, 4 energy untapped. Because Haru Haru untapping energy is so amazing. I can't understate how amazing that is. And then on top of that, I also went out into Overwhelm. So that's how I won my first matchup, because he was like, I can't block all these attacks. But that would have been my very, very last turn of that match. So it all worked out because Haru Haru, that was the best thing that she ever did. Otherwise, she was kind of crap. So the sideboard, 1 Time's Judgment, 1 Goten. I would sub that card in, would never use it. It honestly became a nuisance. I thought it was really, really good. It is good in theory because there are a lot of relevant 3-drops. Just didn't need it as much as I thought I would. Time's Judgment, very, very helpful. I did include it. It also can be very good as a milling black card for Mass Saiyan. That 4th Haru Haru, definitely sided this in. Because, full disclosure, I dropped the Haru Harus if I didn't play against the ape matchup. Or Mecha Frieza leader, basically. They were dropped in between games because it's kind of like I said, like a useless card. It's only good for being milled by Mass Saiyan or as energy later on in the game where you need just energy in general, not specific color energy. But otherwise, I ran that 4th one in the deck. So I ran 1 of these. I thought I ran 2, but I ran 1. I never used it. I sided my 4th Time Patrol. I actually sided 2, which made me mad. I didn't realize the mistake I was making. I sided 2 of these. I never played it, but it's a good card against apes in theory. It doesn't allow them to... I knew I had 2. Here it is. It doesn't allow them to block. Another card I never used, Endless Evolution Broly, a really, really good card in theory. In fact, I don't want to say in theory. He's really good. I just didn't find the time to play him or the matchup. He would have been really good, for example, against a Cell matchup, because what he does is he destroys an opponent's monster. They get to choose, but nonetheless, still good for destruction. This card is really, really good in theory if I were to run this, because I can evolve on top of him for, 3 energy? Yeah, 3 energy. And he becomes a double strike, and they force to discard 2 cards from their hand. So, really, really good card. So, just kind of to recap what I would change from the deck. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. This was one of the more fun decks that I built. Just for changes, I would side these going forward. I don't think these are necessary to be mained. I was just trying to be ahead of the curve if I ever got a matchup against apes, which I did in the very first match, so it honestly saved me. Aside from that, honestly, another change I would make is I would actually put in the counter card, or whatever it is. It's activate battle or counter, but it's the full power, oh no, it's not full power. It's the Father Son Kamehameha card, the green one. I don't actually have it on the desk with me here, but that one would have been very, very helpful for more board removal. I'm just kind of look through it. Of course, I already mentioned I would change these cards, the Mass Saiyans, change the ratio on them. Otherwise, honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. Only other thing I would change is the Goten's main deck, probably sideboard them. And I would probably include the Goku Black, the green Goku Black 3-drop. He was initially in my first draft of this deck. I just kind of found myself charging him too much. I never really played that card. But in theory, if you want to go really, really wide, right, with board presence, he's incredible for that. And that's what he would have been mained for. I just never really got around to it. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, of course, for more content on the Dragon Ball Super card game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on the deck list. And also, if you guys did participate, let me know how you did as well in the San Jose ARG Regionals for the Dragon Ball Super card game. Yeah. So anyways, we have a lot of stuff on the agenda. I want to be opening up that box you just saw, these arts, a lot of packs. This is like a third of the packs that I have. I have tournament packs and card packs and all that stuff. So we got a lot to do. So thank you guys. I'll catch you all in the next Dragon Ball Super card game video, guys. Take it easy, and that was weird. Peace out, guys.